Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee, and welcome to our virtual small business town hall meeting that we have every Tuesday at noontime, bringing very important information on what's happening in the state of Rhode Island, in particular on the small businesses, but also in a broader way too. So if anybody has any questions or need any help on anything, whether it's COVID related or not COVID related, give our office a call, 222-2371. You also can go to our email address at ltgov20@gmail.com. So you can go to either one of those. We're responding, and we're in the middle of we're at the tail end of our 39 small business grant tour, where we're visiting every community in the state with local chambers or business associations, with the municipal leaders, and telling people about the Restore Rhode Island grants and other grants. Commerce will be on today. Matt will be on today, talking about other programs, but we're focused on the Restore Rhode Island program. I'll let Matt tell you where we are in terms of how much money is out there, but I can just tell you there's a substantial amount of money left. We're currently partnering with Mayor Diosa and Mayor-elect Maria Rivera in Central Falls. We expect to be contacting directly with Oscar Mejias, with the Hispanic Chamber and others, to directly contact well over 300 businesses in Central Falls to let them know what is going on. We were in West Warwick yesterday with the municipal leaders in the chamber, visiting businesses down there, letting them know about the grants. Met 4 or 5 businesses that are going to be applying, and some nonprofits too. We did meet a nonprofit, which is a playhouse in West Warwick, that has applied and is waiting on their grant, so nonprofits can also participate. And we'll be partnering with any municipality. Our office will be deploying some of our staff to help out with any municipality that wants to get the word out to their local businesses that these grants are available. We need to get that money out. As you know, we're still looking to put maybe another $75 million, asking for the governor to put another $75 million on December 1st, and distributing these dollars in the most efficient way possible. So we'll get to the program, but I do want to talk about education. I always kind of want to make sure that we understand that this education and our economy are linked. Our small business community is part of our economy, so they are directly linked to our education. And because of the way that we have had to abbreviate our schools, in March of 2020, and it looks as though we're going to be really working on this for another 6 months anyways, in terms of, putting a lot of responsibility on our school districts to figure out how to do it virtually or in-house. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what family you're from, whether you are from a low income, a high income, a moderate income, middle income, doesn't matter if your children are going to public schools or private schools or charter schools or mayoral academies. We're losing hundreds and hundreds of hours of learning time right now, and we got to figure out a way to fill in that gap. So I've been recommending that we put, Cumberland has a municipal education department that I started. Works 52 weeks out of the year, helps kids learn how to read, do math, science, art, music, all academic related things, 52 weeks out of the year, and thousands and thousands of kids in Cumberland have participated in that Office for Children, Youth, and Learning that I helped start with the town council at the time, along with Dr. Mike McKee. Yes, let's get our education department in every community in the state, and let's start catching up, preparing with a plan to catch up on this lost learning time. It's going to be good for the students, the boys and girls that live in our state. It's going to be good for their families. And overall, it's going to be good for our economy, because we know from data, statistics show that unless we figure out a way to catch up, these students are going to be chasing that lost learning for their entire careers, and it's going to impact their earning power. Very, very important thing. So if you have ideas about how we can address the education needs right now, call our office, email us. I'd love to get involved in that conversation with you, as we're going to continue this effort to make sure that the boys and girls that live in our state get the very best possible education, so that they can in turn, contribute into our communities in ways of being good citizens, but also, making sure that they have the ability to earn a good income. That's a high priority. So those are the two things. And the third thing is the wearing the mask. Let's make sure that we wear the mask. I consider it indecent exposure. If you went outside without any clothes on, I'm sure that you would get a tap on the shoulder, or at least, somebody saying that's not right. And you may have to actually be arrested or something like that. But indecent exposure, not to be wearing your clothes. And I would say the same thing with not wearing your mask. If you're not wearing the mask, you're exposing our economy, and you're exposing the health of the people that you're with. So if you're in company that's not wearing a mask, wish them a good day and get the heck out of there. But until we actually get very serious about, that's one of our only, our only defenses right now until the vaccine come in. Good news this week on some vaccine news, but we're still months away from actually seeing a wide, distribution of those doses, and those vaccines and those vaccinations. So right now, the masks are the only thing that we can do to make sure that our economy stays active and operating. So wear the masks. All right, Ben, bring Matt on from Commerce. Got a lot of good things to talk to him about. Hey, Matt, got that mask? Good. Thank you so much, Matt. That's very helpful.
Hey, I'm so glad you mentioned the mask, Governor, because the governor, in consultation with Dr. Scott, changed the mask ruling for inside gyms. There used to be an exception if you were 14 feet apart, but they're asking for the next 2 weeks to wear your mask at all times. And I happen to be a long distance runner, and I was at the treadmill in the gym, wore it the whole time. And I know there's a lot of folks, especially my age, who are uncomfortable in the gym wearing it, but I'll say, give it a shot. It keeps the gyms open, and it could save lives.
Yeah, Matt, I think that's so important. I'm glad you reinforced that, because I was on the call with the Coalition of Business Owners yesterday, and that came up, and some of the gym owners saying that's going to hurt their business. But I can tell you that I'm not going back to a gym, and I was in the health club business for over 30 years. So this is something that's in my blood, and I know how important it is to our health and our our mental well-being. I'm not going back to a gym unless I know that everybody's wearing a mask. And so there are people that are going to the gyms right now, and they're pushing back about wearing the mask. But how many people are not going to the gyms because they feel like I do? So yeah, so important. And I started researching yesterday because of the call I had with the coalition about comfortable masks that you can exercise in, and they are creating these masks. Different national sports manufacturers, whether it's Reebok or Under Armour or wherever it might be, they are getting into the idea that they got to create these masks that are comfortable to work out in. But I know that I can do a strength conditioning workout with my mask on, no problem. The cardio, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm not going back to the gym unless I know that gym has got a mandatory mask policy.
Yep.
So thanks for saying that.
Of course.
Yeah, very important. And by the way, very important the work you're doing. I mean, our economy is going to depend, and that's our only defense right now is the mask until the vaccine comes in. So our economy and what you're working so hard on, give us an update on the Restore Rhode Island grants, Matt. And I asked you a few questions before we got on the air, and we'll get into that as well.
Sure, Governor. Well, thanks for having me on to continue talking about these grants and for the work you're doing, helping to promote them. I'm pleased to tell you, as of this morning, we've already funded over $24 million to small businesses in grants, which is over 2,100 businesses are already funded. And we have just about 1,000 more businesses going through the application process. So, and I'll share with you, I know I shared with you before, because of the work promoting the grants, we had 100 new first-time applications for businesses come in over last night. So there continues to be big interest. So thank you for helping to push it. And we want to get these businesses through and funded quickly.
Well, it's a team effort, Matt, that's for sure. And when we're doing, our visits, we've had Commerce on the calls up in Gloucester with SCORE. They've got volunteers from SCORE. And this is an all-out effort because many of our businesses, and I'm a small business owner myself, know that we're buried in our businesses. And when we're challenged economically like this, it's even more stressful. So we don't, our small businesses don't take the time to do anything other than work on their businesses. But when we actually approach them and let them know that Commerce is there ready to help in this Restore Rhode Island program, the governor's put forward $50 million. They're very interested, and we just need to continue to try to simplify that application. I was mentioning that we're helping people through the, because of the early closures that was talked about last week, and the restaurants who qualify for up to $10,000. We're helping businesses and restaurants get through that application process. Real easy, simple application process, Matt. So, I don't know if you want to comment on it, but it'd be really great at this juncture if we were able to simplify it, even if we capped it at the $10,000 grants. If you needed more information for the 30, but anything that we can do to simplify this. I got an email from one of the members of our advocacy committee that has helped dozens and dozens of businesses through these grants along with the SBA stuff. And he emailed me this morning and said it took him about 3 to 5, 10 minutes to work through that application that the taxation is working with right now. So if there's any transferability here, Matt, let's find it.
We continue to talk to our colleagues and see how we can simplify even more. I'll also share with you, we've had a number of businesses who have just opened for the first time during the pandemic, and myself and a couple of colleagues are working with the compliance folks to get if we can get them eligible for the Restore grant. So we continue to work on that. Hopefully, more progress to report to you soon on that. But we continue.
Yeah, Matt, that would be great if you did open it up there. We're trying to continue to communicate in a professional way. We did, send a letter to the Governor of Commerce last week and talked about the many businesses that I'm visiting that did all that preparation, may have purchased their business in December of last year, or may have done all their work, in their build outs and they're signing their leases, but they didn't open up till May of this year. Their overhead is the same, and that's the other piece too, Matt, just to kind of like, as we, get to share information, we're finding that many people who are, because they got a less of a staffing than they've had in the past, on the Restore Rhode Island, they're not maximizing it out yet, but their overhead of their utilities and their rent and their interest payments are all the same. So, that was one of our requests too, that you can bring back to the secretary is, can we kind of figure out a way to kind of weight the overhead as much as the payroll of the employees, because we're finding many of the places who are top heavy on the overhead right now are receiving lower amounts of grants as compared to maybe who somebody doesn't have as much overhead but has more employees. They're getting more money. So if there's a way to kind of level that playing field, that would be very helpful too.
Certainly, we'll take it back to the secretary and the team, and with our partnership together, we continue to make the program better as we go along. So definitely, we'll take it back. Yeah,
and I know that we're working at it. The other piece too, just to let you know, is, and I don't know if anything's been done on it yet, but we've got dentists and eye doctors who are running their small businesses. They got employees, they got overhead. I don't believe they qualify right now for the Restore Rhode Island grant, and they're kind of banging on my door. I'm sure they're banging on your door. So I'm not sure the reasoning on that, but if there was a way to rethink that or relook that, I know that hundreds of businesses in the state that provide us with unbelievable services, at the same time employ people, they would appreciate being included in this.
I will certainly take that category back. And, your staff has been terrific connecting us with businesses who are having issues or raising new flags. So really appreciate that. Governor, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to also share a new resource for businesses we have. As
yes.
You know, the governor is encouraging those employees that can work remotely, or businesses to allow employees to work remotely, the opportunity to do so. And we know that there could be technology challenges in getting employees set up to work remotely. So Commerce has created a remote work program to provide technology, internet, computers, office services. So on the commercerhi.com website, if you're a business out there or an employee that does need some assistance getting set up for remote work, please sign up on our website, and we'll be sure to reach out and help get you set up.
Great, Matt. And, I think that, our health, as we said earlier, is the top priority, but the economy, and that's why your office is so critical for us right now. And we appreciate not only your leadership and the secretaries, but the entire staff there. They've been working, really extraordinarily hard in these extraordinary times to to help these businesses in many ways, the grants, but also the multiple types of services. So when we're going out, we had somebody donate 40,000 masks to our office, which is really, really good in the messaging, right, that we just talked about. And so I put those into 400 bags, and the idea was to visit 39 communities. I think we're approaching 30 now. I think we got about 8 or 9 left. I'll be in Richmond and Exeter today, and we're handing those masks to people, letting them know that it's so important. And in the bag, we are putting all the programs that Commerce has, all the current programs, including the technical support you're talking about and the funding, and so that they can be aware of what's going on. And then we're asking those local municipal leaders to really share this wealth. I mean, this is very, very important information. So we want to thank you, Matt, for being here today, and we'll wait on the secretary to be here next week, and I'll give him a personal phone call, as I talked to you about offline, to just to touch base with Stefan. All right.
Thank you, Governor. And I think we're going to see each other Friday for that Central Falls work we're doing and the webinar on that. So I look forward to seeing you there. And thank you again for all the work you're doing and helping us get the word out.
Well, it's a team effort, that's for sure, Matt, and we appreciate the fact of being able to play a role in it. But we know Commerce is carrying the ball, and it's a lot of work, and we appreciate the entire staff there. Please relay that message from our office to your office. All right.
Sounds good, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, Matt. Well, we're continuing, and I know that we're in many ways we're ahead of other states. We just want to be the leaders, and we want to get those funds out. So if you have a business, a nonprofit, if you're a business that's not currently qualifying and you want to know why, call us. You just heard from Matt. They're interested in hearing from our businesses, from our office, all the information that we can bring to the table. And the more information we bring, the better. Remember that there's a deadline on those federal COVID CARE Act dollars, of that $1.25 billion. We use it or we lose it by December 30th. And right now, the deadline for the Restore Rhode Island grants is to apply is December 1st. So we got time, but Thanksgiving's going to mix in there. We got Christmas holidays. We got a lot of work to do. And as Matt says, we got 1,000 applications in the pipeline, which is really good work. And there's about $26 million left to allocate on that first 50. But we really want to make the case that put another $75 million into the mix, because if we're able to do that, then the companies who received the first check, now they're receiving a second check because they do qualify for that. Those who are receiving their first check right now, let's get them a second check. Let's get the people who got the first and second check a third check by Christmas. That would be a good Christmas present, to give them as much dollars as possible to work their way through these issues. And you're going to hear later in our program some of the businesses that are making it work. But let me tell you, it's not easy. Please bring on Matt Weldon. Ben. Matt, thanks for wearing the mask.
How are you?
Thank you very much. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're healthy. That's the main thing, but concerning with the infection rates in Rhode Island right now and around the country. And I think that we need to do everything we can, because we don't want to put more of a burden on your office with more unemployment stuff, because we have to go backwards in terms of the economy. I happen to believe, Matt, we should be creating this incremental, flexibility, where we are understanding that it's indecent exposure not to be wearing your mask, and really make sure that we do that to the nth degree. But then I would like to start seeing us have incremental increases, in the percentages of the businesses that we can do, whether it's in our restaurants. Let's get them up to 70%. Let's get them up to different closing times. Let's get the gyms up to an area where they can get more than 50% of the people in, or their dance studios, or wherever it might be. That's the only way we get the economy back. But give us your update of what you're working on in your office, Matt.
Things are somewhat status quo, Governor. We're still certifying, which means we're paying over 71,000 people a week. That's a lot of people. And, we hope that people wear their masks and people,
Yeah.
abide by the rules, so we can hopefully a short-term inconvenience can result in a long-term recovery. And, we want to be able to make sure, like Matt said, when he goes to the gym, you can put your mask on. And I agree with you. If people aren't wearing a mask, it is, it's an insult to other people, but it's also dangerous. And so we have to do our part. And hopefully you're right. We can continue to open things back up and get people working. We don't, we're here to serve. We want to help, but I prefer not to. So we'd rather have
Matt,
people back.
It's tongue in cheek. I call it indecent exposure, but it is. If I walked outside without my clothes on in the public, I'm going to pay, if somebody's going to say, yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, right.
We're not looking to pick a fight with anybody, but at the same point in time, delivering the message that it exposes our economy in a negative way and our health in a negative way. So wear the mask. And,
That's right.
like I said, I ran a health club for over 30 years. And I would be telling people that, look, you got to wear the mask. We're going to dance studios, they're wearing the mask. We're seeing soccer teams play on the field, they're wearing the mask. We can adapt to this, and it's so critical that we do right now to do it, exactly what you and Matt was talking about, and the rest of the leadership that that is starting to talk even nationally. The national leadership is starting to talk in a way that those masks are not a political statement. They're actually a statement that says, hey, we're going to stay healthy, and we're going to get a healthy economy, and we're going to support that economy because we're going to be able to do, we're going to be able to, expand and like I said, create more flexibility rather than less.
Well, that's right. Nobody can do it alone. We have to do it together, and that's just how it's going to have to be. Cheyenne and Ben just put the number up, 415-6772. That's our call center.
Yes.
I'm very proud of the work that the staff in the call center have been doing.
Yes.
We have more people on the phones than we've ever had before. Yesterday, we helped 1,332 unique individuals with issues they were having. A lot of them are probably just questions, and that's okay. That's what they're there for. They're open 6 days a week. It's a half day Saturday. Every other day they're open from 8 in the morning until 6 o'clock in the evening. And they close the line at 6, but finish calls up until 7. They just don't take new calls after that time. My tip I've been giving is try calling later in the day. Sometimes I hear from people and they say, I tried in the morning, it didn't work. It's not like that. You really should be trying more than once, and you should try late in the day or on Saturday mornings. It's the slowest day of the week. I think people just assume we're not open. Give us a call.
Nice.
And we'll help you out. Otherwise, we continue to go forward with WorkShare. WorkShare is a busy program. We've been talking about some other meaningful ways that we can make some tweaks and modifications to help employers. Right now, it's still federally funded through the end of this calendar year, and hopefully we'll see a change that pushes that out another year. That has happened in multiple years in the past. After the recession, it was federally funded for a while. Hopefully now it'll be federally funded again, and we'd like to improve it and get more employers to take advantage when they need it, because it's a valuable resource where you can essentially dial back on everyone's hours or a set group of folks' hours, reduce the pay to them, and let unemployment help backfill their lost wages. But nobody loses a job. You don't lose employees that you've invested in. It's a great opportunity. Yeah,
Matt. So again, extend our thanks to your entire staff. I can tell you, you've handled 1,300 calls, and they're not just another call. I mean, people are, they're stressed to a certain degree, and if they're not able to get an answer, even as of a simple answer or some confirmation on what they thought was true or not true, that is calming their lives. And so not only, I would look at every single call that you receive as really helping the state of Rhode Island, deal with this health pandemic and the economic pressures that it brings on. And anybody who's collecting and calling your office, they're experiencing this economic stress. So
That's right.
your work is so important. You're almost like a therapist to a certain degree, but if you're answering their questions, I can just tell you how frustrated people are. And having been a mayor for 12 years, now lieutenant governor, and priding ourselves to get out in the community and talk to people, the stress level increases when they're not able to get answers. And so, right, you're helping out a lot of people in 1,300 unique calls in one day. Let's take note of that, and let's give a couple thumbs up to your staff and everybody out there who's calling and understanding that they can reach you. So thank you so much for doing that. Ben, you got
Thank
any
you.
questions? Any questions for Matt? I mean, you might want to just say hello to him anyways. He always likes saying hello to you, you know?
First of all, I love Matt. Hey, Matt. And first, Senator DePalma said, Matt, good to see you on the call. It's appreciated. I have some new Bronx Bombers razors if needed. All kidding aside, keep up the good work. Our IDLT, it is appreciated. We do have a question. We have a question from David. Matt, I'm sorry. This question is so big, Matt, that I've covered your face. DOH website states the following: the Families First Coronavirus Response Act requires most employers to provide employees with 2 weeks up to 80 hours of paid sick leave if they are quarantined or experiencing symptoms. There is a chance that some employees could be out 24 days for household. How do they get money to cover their expenses for the extra 10 days?
I would tell those folks that they could apply for pandemic unemployment assistance. That's what it was set up for. If they're out of work, they would just need to tell DLT that they were paid sick pay or their time was covered for a period of time, and there was going to be a gap. And it was 10 days or 15 days are not going to be paid. And that's what that unemployment program was developed for during the CARES Act. It's right on our website.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And Dave Shenovit, thanks for your question. And of course, Senator Palmer. Really important that people are watching this program, Matt. You know they are, and they're getting a lot of information. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing your hard work and your staff's hard work, but and also the help that you're providing to the state of Rhode Island. Thanks a lot, Matt. We'll see you
Thanks,
next week.
Governor. Take care.
You got it. Yeah, keep the questions coming. And I want to introduce Larry DeBoni from the Economic Development in Cranston, and I wanted Larry. I wanted because things that are going on in different communities, and then we did our tour last week with you and Mayor Fung, visiting businesses, giving them the information on a lot of the grants. But you also talked about a great program that you're involved in. So why don't you share that? Because again, it's an example of municipalities stepping up. And I got a warm spot in my heart for the municipalities, being a former mayor. So when I see good things happening there, we want to spread the word so that other communities can follow your lead as well. So Larry, give us a little overview of what's happening in Cranston.
Well, Governor, thank you for the tour that you came on last week. That was great. And all the businesses that we did visit, they enjoyed getting the mask and that little package that you gave them. We have two grants that we received in Cranston. One is a CDBG grant for $100,000 that we've put out to any business that wants to apply. This goes back to March 27th. If you bought PPE, we will reimburse up to $1,000 until that $100,000 is gone. All you need to do is apply, fit into the CDBG rules, and give us your receipts. We'll vet it, and you will get paid up to $1,000. That's one grant we received. The other grant is we received the Take It Outside grant. And what we did, we created a sub-grant for businesses. We're not using it in the city of Cranston. We're giving the money out to businesses. We received $100,000 for that also. You can apply for that grant up until this Friday at 4 p.m. And then we have a committee that will go through the grants, and we will be giving money out as long as we get the money from the state.
So yeah, that's interesting, Larry. So you're going to provide the money for the Take It Outside, and they're going to tell you how they're going to spend the money to be eligible inside the program and in terms of the parameters of the program, and then they're going to do what they need to do to work their way in the Take It Outside strategy. Is that
that's exactly right?
Yeah.
You apply for the grant, and you tell us how you're going to take it outside, and then if it fits in the program, we will give out to up to $5,000 per business for $100,000. I mean,
well, you got some good.
It's gone.
Yeah, well, and you've got 100,000, so you can do. I'm just doing the math here. Just on the
20 businesses.
Just on the math, the PPE, you're talking about at least 100 or more businesses, and then in this other, you're talking about another 20 to 30 businesses, or even more, maybe even as many as 50 businesses, right? That could be eligible on the Take It Outside.
It depends how much they apply for and how much we're putting out. But we got up to 100,000. And if anybody wants to know about these grants, they can go to the City of Cranston website, go under the departments page, and look at economic development, and both grants are out there.
Larry, that's fantastic. I mean, cities and towns are stepping up, and we need to get the word out. That's the biggest challenge right now, I think, is just getting the word out. But I'm sure just people are going to share this program. I encourage everybody who's watching it, please share it out to your networks. And if you know people in Cranston, make them aware of that. Now, and Larry, when you get those in there, I just ask you to let them know about the Restore Rhode Island grants at the same time. Because, as they come in, you can say, hey, and you also could qualify up to 30,000 in your office or our office or Commerce, as you heard. We can help walk you through that, or your local chambers. But that's a great opportunity for you to actually be face to face with people and having your conversations with your businesses. Those
Right.
two programs that you're implementing.
Governor, we've sent out emails to over 200 businesses on the Restore Rhode Island grant, which was the press releases from Rhode Island Commerce. So we're getting that word out too.
Yes. Well, I think that is so important.
Using it.
Yeah, you heard Matt from Commerce state there's still $26 million there, Larry. And businesses, we visited more than one business in your community. Several of them hadn't applied yet, but one of them had applied, and they're expecting to get qualify for as much as, I think, $29,000. I think that one business told us that they're going to be qualifying for based on the application that he just made. So, yeah, getting these dollars out, and I can tell you, Cranston with Mayor Fung and yourself are leaders in working with these small businesses. We've got many municipal leaders that step up, but no one steps up more than Cranston does to help their small businesses, and that what you just explained to people is an indication, and certainly somebody that can be an example for others to follow as well. I know everybody's trying to figure it out, but you're two innovative strategies there that you just put forward. And let's get the Restore Rhode Island money out so I can ask for another $75 million on December 1st. Everybody get another check around Christmas time. That would be helpful. It'll help them pay the bills that keep our cities and towns solvent, right?
That's right. That's right. And it would help if we can get the doctors out there too, like you said.
Yeah, the doctors and all the eye doctors and the chiropractors, they're struggling to pay their rents in many cases because their businesses have been impacted. So thank you so much for your leadership on this, Larry, and we'll stay in touch, and whatever we can do. I know we're sending out a form letter that is going to all the communities. I know that Cheyenne's getting that to your office, that how we're partnering in with these communities right now. Seminole Falls, we've got an active partnership going on. Johnston, we're just about ready to start it with the Policina boys, Joe and his son Joe. And so we're looking forward to that. And then East Greenwich, the same thing. And so whatever we can do to help you out and support your work, our office is available, and we're willing to have our staff help in any way that you see fit. All right.
Thank you very much, Governor, and thanks for having me on. I have to run at this point, but
Yep.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Larry. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Yep. So, there we are. We're in Cranston there with Mayor Fung, just like we are with all the municipal leaders, the chamber directors. They're all out there working hard to try to figure this out. So, if you're not able to contact our office of Commerce, call your local town hall. The mayors and their planning departments, I know, are very anxious to help out, just like we heard Larry talk about how he's working to get things out to his business community in Cranston. So I think, Ben, we're going to bring on our coalition, or at least Chris is here, right? Hi, Chris.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. We're chipping away. It was good to hear Matt from Commerce say that they are looking at a streamlined application. I got a message today, that Mark Dion, who has been active, and he was active before the pandemic in our small business advocacy, and he sent me an email this morning. Chris said that he just walked one of the businesses through a grant on their restaurant money because of the early shutdown. Took them 5 minutes. They're going to qualify for $10,000.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be nice?
And those are from the Federal CARES Act funds, correct?
That's right. Same thing. CARES Act funds, funding grants, going through a different stream line and going through taxation. But this is something that I've talked about for quite a long time, about empowering people in the state. I've been talking about municipal leaders. They were able to empower the Division of Taxation. We should be really trying to bring this home in a way that we can really streamline this application in that way. I mean, when Mark told me this morning, and we've been checking it out for the last 48 hours to actually determine whether or not that application process was far easier than the Restore Rhode Island grant, and it is. So now that we've identified that, maybe there's some hope that is transferable into the complete Restore Rhode Island grant. That would help us, get the $50 million out, Chris, and our $75 million ask for December 1st.
Right. Yeah. Time is ticking, Lieutenant Governor. We know we have to spend that $1.25 billion before the end of the year, and we're almost approaching mid-November. So, as we've been saying with the coalition, we've been really advocating. I mean, you and your office has been unbelievable, going town to town to each small businesses, informing them about the Restore Rhode Island grant. We're doing the same thing locally to all these small businesses, at least here in downtown. They may not be aware of it, but now they are. And having a more streamlined approach now,
Yes.
where it started to where it is today, is an improvement by Commerce. And if we can make another improvement to even more streamlined, that would be great and easier for small businesses. So one thing you mentioned recently was the bonus, so to speak, that the restaurants were able to apply for, because recently the governor put in some mandates when it comes to trying to handle this, again, rising health crisis. Now,
Yep.
It was on the restaurants, but there was also other businesses affected. I mean, let's think about it. There's the gyms and fitness centers that were directly impacted.
Yes.
There was the travel agencies directly impacted by a mandate or strong suggestion to, stop all business travel. The coalition members came to us and say, hey, why were we not included in
Yes.
part of the, extra money from the CARES Act, but restaurants were? Nothing against restaurants. We need to help them as much as possible, if not more than almost any industry. But we also have to help these other business
Yes.
industries that were negatively impacted by these recent, guidelines by the governor's team.
Yeah, it's just common sense. We've been saying this, and certainly I've been echoing it. Look, if we're going to curtail or abbreviate somebody's business operation to keep us healthy, then it's only makes sense in each one of those cases to make every effort we can, Chris, to compensate them for that. The indication of working with the restaurants the way they are, reflects that belief, but we need to expand it. And we had Dave Morin on our program last Tuesday, a tennis facility. He was asked to close on 24-hour notice his entire tennis operation, and that cost him thousands of dollars because you don't get that time back. So your point is well taken. And so we're going to keep on. We got another letter that we'll be preparing to go to the governor's office on Monday of next week. We're going to do a letter every 2 weeks. We're going to take in all the things that the coalition has been talking about, making sure that it's reflected in the letter, and following up on that specific point. The more flexibility we can give in these programs, the more we're helping out these businesses. I wanted to show you. I thought this headline was pretty good. McKee comes to town. That was out of the Jamestown Press, and then if you scroll up a little further, you see a lot of the pictures that we took, with those local businesses. But there's a community that, has 10,000 people, 8,000 people. There's all the pictures of all. We're doing this in every single community. And I wanted Ben to put that up there, not only because I thought it was kind of a good it was a nice headline. McKee comes to town. It was like Santa Claus is coming to town. We're telling you, we got all these grants. And so what I read in there, it wasn't McKee, it was Santa Claus coming to town with all these grants for these small businesses. And I wanted to thank all the local media. We were in West Warwick yesterday. We had local media there that's going to cover it. We were down in Narragansett. The Independent down there covered this. Radio stations, smaller radio stations, besides what's happening in particular with Dan York, who's been a very strong supporter of the small businesses. All that's been very important. Let's spend 2 minutes before I bring the business panel on. We started to briefly talk about this yesterday, which was building confidence level, Chris. And that's going to become, the grants are a big priority. There's no doubt about that. Getting the money to these businesses, the flexibilities, but we're not going to create the flexibility we need until we create a confidence level. So I was glad that got brought up yesterday, and I kind of zeroed in on it as being one of our next major efforts is how do we build, consumer confidence.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that we talked about on our weekly coalition call. Again, every Monday at 11 a.m., email us at info@rismallbusiness.org if you'd like to join that call. And what our fellow coalition small business owners were saying is, listen, these grants are great and they're helpful to kind of get us over some of these humps. And what we really need, though, is to build up consumer confidence. I mean, we need to grow our economy naturally, organically, through, consumers purchasing local goods and services from our small business owners. But we need to give them the confidence that they can safely enter into our business and purchase the foods and services. So, masks are very important. You gotta wear your masks, and that's why it's important to enforce these rules that the Department of Health has imposed. It's for a reason. It's to ensure that our communities are safe. So if we have a really great way to ensure that everyone is safe and really build up that confidence that yes, there is a health crisis, and yes, we need to follow everything that the Department of Health has come. But if they're saying, hey, we can go into these businesses as long as you're 6 feet apart, as long as you have your masks, then let's go into these businesses and be part of this local economy.
Yeah, and Chris, that's one of the reasons why I'm out doing these tours, because I want people to know it's safe. You can wear your mask. And about a month ago, I said, look, we're going to get out of hibernation and we're going right to these communities. We're going to go right to the doorstep of these businesses to support them. And I know that the data and the stats show that if you're being safe and conscientious, and the people that you're with are giving you that common respect, then we can create more flexibility. We can create more opportunities. But I can say, I know we had a call yesterday and we talked about some of the people who felt as though they might be losing business. We had a restaurant and a health club, but I think they're going to gain a lot more business because, like I said, I'm not going back to my gym until I know that everybody's wearing a mask or we've got past this pandemic. And I think that we can build this confidence. And I'm looking forward to working with you and the coalition members to really get some concrete ideas about how we can build this consumer confidence, especially when we drift past Thanksgiving. Many of our retail shops, many of our small businesses, I know it was a big selling season for our, for memberships in our health clubs. That's coming up. Many of our selling seasons are coming up for many of our businesses. We have the tourism and we rely on that, Chris, but most of our businesses in the state rely on these holiday time frames, these in winter type of seasonal type of stuff for their businesses, and we really need to figure out how to message this out. So I know that you and Laurie, Justin, and many of the other people who are joining our calls are starting to focus on that.
Exactly. Shop local, buy local, especially this holiday season more than ever. And I got to tell you, during, because we recently got married, and then you go to all these vendors. We had dance lessons. You had masks on. It was safe. We had restaurants. We had retails. We went to all these places and we felt safe going into these places because they were following all the rules. If we felt like they weren't following the rules, we probably didn't go into those businesses. So it's important for these businesses to follow the rules, to give those consumers confidence that this is a safe place to go. And it's also, let the communities know it's okay. It's okay to get out and safely follow the rules and buy local and shop local to support your local businesses.
Thanks, Chris. And thank you so much for your leadership during this time frame. I know, and even Matt was mentioning that we're having an impact. We're helping thousands of businesses everywhere I'm going. If they haven't already joined the coalition, I'm asking them to join the coalition at rismallbusiness.org. So if you're listening in as a business and you haven't joined that coalition yet, Chris has been a leader on that with Lori and Justin. And we also want to make sure that our office can use that list. And the bigger it gets, the more influence we're going to have during the pandemic and after the pandemic. So, Chris, thank you so much for your leadership.
My pleasure.
Okay. All right, let's bring on our businesses. I think we have a couple businesses to bring on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, my God, this is good. Oh, I want to tell you that we're going to start with, I'll go off the screen here for a second like that. Well, thank you for everybody for being here today. I wanted to start with Dan and Kelly. I have this interesting book here. If you can see the book. And I started to read about Mishnock. I mean, I'm going to tell you that West Greenwich has this unbelievable facility that I have not visited and many people haven't visited. During normal times, they are doing some fantastic things in terms of the music industry and helping people learn how to dance and have a good time. So we got to visit West Greenwich last week, and I wanted Dan and Kelly to just give a little overview of what they're doing in their shop. And then I want to do a music venue strategy on one of our community conversations within the next couple of weeks. So Dan and Kelly, welcome. Tell us a little bit about your shop, a little bit about what you're doing in the business, and tell us a little bit about Mishnock.
First thing, I want to thank you for taking the time, the effort to come out and to visit all these small businesses, because in these times we all need a lot of help. So now, as far as the Mishnock Barn, well, we have to go back to 1929 when my grandfather started a swimming bathing business, and then he built a Palladium with my father in the 40s, and they brought in the Grand Old Opry and different bands played here. Eddie Zach and the Hayloft Jamboree, which my mother's Merrill, so there's a connection there. Because my father met my mother playing here, back when this was just a Palladium. And then in the 70s, my mother closed it in with Eddie Zach, and they had bands. They would play here and do events outside and inside. But by closing it in 71, it allowed year-round business to go on. And then in 78, I took over, and I was in a rock band back then. And we started a rock and roll era here, which was a great, fun era. A lot of visits from Rick O.B. and Carolyn Fox, HJY, brought in, national and semi-national bands. And then in 92, we changed to line dancing and partner dancing, and we got involved in that. And that's been fantastic for us. The dancers by nature are just wonderful people. Yeah. And we were able to do 5 nights a week, a couple hundred people a night regularly. People visiting from Europe and all that, because dancing, especially the country line dancing, is very popular in Europe. So, of course, all that came to a crash and halt. We just finished up a dance weekend in New York where we had, I think, 500 dancers.
Last March.
Last March. And thankfully, no reports of anybody getting sick. But a week later, here we were closed. And understandably so with the dancing. When we've got 3 dance floors here at the Mishnock Barn, and on a Monday night, there'll be 150 people, 200 people here. Every floor full of dancers, lessons, dancing. Yeah. So that's been a challenge for our business, because dancing is out right now. Again, understandably so, but no, we can't dance.
Yeah, we want you to dance. I'm not a very good dancer. I got 2 left feet, but I can't wait to try this out. We got a wedding coming up in our family shortly, and I know I got to go out there and hone in my skills a little bit. I got about 8 months to do it, but
we'll get you going.
Yeah, so I thought your business was very reflective of many businesses in the state, and that's why I wanted you to come on and just give an overview, Dan, of that. And I wanted to say, that there are businesses that are impacted. And on the grants, Kelly, I wanted you to give a chance. We asked you about the Restore Rhode Island grant and how you were, limited in terms of what you could get, because the state had imposed certain rules that didn't allow you to open up, and yet you were kind of penalized on it a little bit. I still feel as though, and hopefully you're going to have some abbreviated opening so that you can say that you're opened up and qualify. But tell us about your application on the Restore Rhode Island grant, Kelly.
Well, on that one, I began that, I think it was in the second round, the first time through, second round of it. It was like in September, I think. And they gave us, I think, 1,000 out of 6,500 because we weren't open for our normal business format. But since we've opened up in a very limited sort of way, we do Facebook Live lessons every Monday and Friday. We've been doing them since March. So the lights are on. We're paying the bills we can pay with the help from some of the other grants as well. And I was able to finish the application or the adjustment. So hopefully that will go through and help us, move forward.
Yeah, and Kelly, we'll follow up with you and Paulette and making sure that you maximize what you're entitled to. But I think you may have heard earlier in the program with Commerce, I was echoing the fact that people still have overhead. Their payrolls may be down because of their abbreviation of their service, but you still have a facility there. You still have electric bill. You still have your Wi-Fi. You still have your different licensing that you pay for. Yeah. And we're trying to figure out a way to make sure that we balance everybody's business interests, because many of the businesses now are top heavy on their overhead, and that's not really being reflected in the grants that they're eligible for. So, I think that echoing that is very important. And then we want to follow up with you, Kelly, because I want to make sure that you get the full 6,500 from your first application, because as you said, you've been open in a way with your Facebook Live. You have been operating your business, and I think that needs to be reflected. And then, of course, we want to make sure that your second check comes in at that 65, at least that 6,500. And then we're going to be advocating, all the business owners know here, that we're going to be advocating for another 75 million to be put on the table on December 1st, so that everybody gets a second or third check before Christmas. So, and we're going to have you both back. I'm going to get through the book a little bit more, and then I'm going to come back, and then we're going to do a feature because, I get to travel Rhode Island for the last many years. I was a mayor of Cumberland, stayed pretty much in Cumberland. But now I get to, and so now on these tours, I'm always going to see new places, and I'm encouraging people in the state of Rhode Island to discover this beautiful state that we have. And part of what I saw down at your barn was, certainly worth the trip. So thanks for your hospitality, and we'll be back in touch with you. All right.
Thanks. Thanks for taking the time.
You're welcome. Caroline, let's talk to you a little bit about your dance studio, if we can do that. What a great visit we had with you in Cranston with Mayor Fung and Larry and Cheyenne in our office. Tell us a little bit about your business. And I wanted you to share as well the fact that you went in for a second application. You got a first one and a second application. So we want these businesses out there listening that this is real grants that we're receiving, and it's helpful, right?
Yes, it is helpful. I'm actually Blair Victoria Dutra. My mother is Carolyn Dutra.
Sorry about that.
She representing all of us. That's all right. Yeah. She started this dance studio 47 years ago. She was a Radio City Rockette. She's now in her 70s. She's still kicking and still teaching. She's very limited in her class she teaches because we're upholding all the safety protocols. And there we are outside our Cranston studio. Right. Yeah. We have locations in Warwick, Cranston, and Smithfield. We love each one of those communities. So in regards to the protocols and the guidelines relative to us, there aren't any specific to dancing schools, which all of the dancing schools know. But we have all united in this way. Fortunately, we've been able to connect, and we've been following the fitness guidelines, and we know everyone's doing their best to keep safe. Our goal is to remain in studio classes. We cannot take it outside, and we cannot survive as a business if we have to remain just online. So our focus and our shift of our business model, as everyone's has changed, we're in a creative business. So, we've had our creative hats on, and safety is always been our top priority and will continue to be. So what we hope is that everyone is upholding the safety standards and protocols that we've been provided with by the government. And we're hopeful for that, because if the government decides that there needs to be a shutdown, it will be a huge hit for us. And we feel confident in the model that we have here with the screenings and the relayed entries and exits. The students are always distanced, the recommended. We've been in masks since day one, and we will continue to be. There's been no question of masks inside of our studio or our distance. It's aided us in situations where we need to assess where students are. We have standing charts of where each student is. We have sanitizing protocols, all this stuff everyone knows. I know it's repetitive, but just to express the lengths of safety that we are upholding so that we can remain in business. It's been challenging for us. We have a big decrease in our enrollment, and it's, positivity and the show must go on is part of our business model. So we're keeping it positive. Our students haven't had any challenges with the masks or the distancing since we've been in here. We have children from ages 2 and up. Our families and the students that have been able to continue with us in studio have been very supportive. We have some online, but again, that is not a financially supportive way for us to remain open. We have successfully applied and received the first Restore Rhode Island grant. We've applied for the second one. We're still waiting. We did find the process to be manageable, and we're thankful for any supportive funds that we can receive.
Yeah, and it's Blair, right? Blair?
Yes.
Is it Blair?
Yes.
Yeah, Blair. Yeah, you had your staff out there in Cranston. It was a beautiful day, but a couple of my takeaways was one that you really enforced the masks, on your students, and as you said, that it's acceptable and it works, and that's a message that we need to deliver around the whole state of Rhode Island right now. We're not going to open up in a way that is going to help our businesses, survive unless we, address the health issue first. And that's why, our biggest line of defense. And I was very happy to hear that you were able to work your way through a relatively cumbersome process of the first round of applications, but the for your second, check that you should be receiving, that way you found that a great deal easier to work your way through.
I'm looking over to my bookkeeper, who's quite distanced from me, for her nod, and it was a yes.
Yes, and we just heard. Now, I'm sure that the businesses would like to make it as simple as possible. They got to run their businesses, and you just heard how we're actually working on another grant, separate, same pool of money, another grant that now is even streamlined more. That I've asked Commerce, and they've indicated that they will take a close look to see whether we can even make it even easier. But I want to thank you for being here today. Your story is very important. That fact that both Kelly and Dan and yourself, they did qualify. You qualified for the first round. You're qualifying for the second round, and we want every business out there that qualified for the first round to apply for the second round of funding. So, thank you for being here today, Blair. Now we're going to move to Scituate, our buddies in Scituate, which is great that you're here. We did a visit in Scituate the other day, right? And we were able to visit many businesses. That's Cheyenne, who works in our office. That's her home territory, so she felt very comfortable being out there with you guys. So please introduce yourselves and tell us about the businesses that you have, in Scituate. And then I want to get into some of the, your thoughts on how we're going to get these, help these small businesses in the state.
Well, hello, my name is Mishnock, and I own Charming Treasures and Charmed and Dangerous in Scituate. One is a gift store and one is a boutique. I'm also on the Scituate Business Association board.
Christine, would you happen to have headphones by any chance, earbuds or anything? Sorry, go ahead.
I do not.
Okay. There's a bad echo on your end. I'm going to do my best here.
How's that?
Okay, go ahead.
Any better?
As long as no one else talks.
Okay. I'm Christine Hall. I own Charming Treasures, which is a gift shop, and Charmed and Dangerous, which is a boutique. And I'm also on the Situate Business Association board, and we've been dealing with a lot of businesses, trying to help them out during this time. I did go through the application process for Restore RI. On the second round, I did not do the first round because I was intimidated. I am not tech savvy, so it proved to be a lot easier than I had thought once Cheyenne contacted me. So I encourage everyone to do that. It was a lot easier than anyone had thought. And if I did have a question, I just contacted the Commerce, and they got right back to me and helped me out. It was wonderful.
Yeah, Christina, have you had success with other businesses in Situate to make that application after our visit? Do you know of anybody else that made that application?
I do know of a few people that have applied and have not heard yet. And I've encouraged quite a few businesses. I'm still reaching out to them to try it. And I can't stress how helpful the Commerce is in getting back to you and helping you with the process, sending you links, answering any questions that you have. Because I did have a couple, but only because I thought it was harder than it actually was.
Yeah. Well, Christine, thank you for being here today. And Brenda, give us a little overview. We were able to visit your farm shop there a few months ago with the Small Business Advocacy Committee. But tell us a little bit about your work as not only as a business owner, but also as a municipal leader. Just unmute yourself, Brenda. Just have to unmute yourself.
There we
Beautiful.
go. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I'm Brenda Frederickson, owner of Frederickson Farms, and I'm also a member of the Situate Town Council. I have been for 12 years. And we have worked with this whole COVID issue throughout the entire time, kind of making some accommodations with our business. Our main focus is our stove shop. In the spring, we usually have a pre-buy special with our pellets for all our customers. And we were able to do a mailing, send out our postcards, have a lot of orders done over the phone. So we were able to have a contactless sale with that. And as they were delivered, the driver basically doesn't have to interact, just basically deliver the pellets to each address. We found that we had an increase with that this year because we feel that people were prioritizing different things more. And what we did during the summer months was we shifted our focus a little and promoted staycation type items like fire pits and pellet smoker grills and gas grills. We also sell propane refills. So we were able to provide a lot of the necessities, which helped our business move along. We did take advantage of the PPP grant for our payroll. So we were able to keep our employees employed and not have to lose anybody during that time. Our loss in the spring was our cleaning service that we do, our annual cleaning service in the spring for the pellet stoves. So a lot of that is shifted to the fall. And with the retail regulations, we've tried to work with all our service techs to ensure the fact that they have adequate sanitizer and masks and gloves, different equipment, so that way that they're safe when they have to work with any of the homeowners. Fortunately, our layout of our business showroom is very spread out. So we don't have an influx of customers at any point in time where they have to interact, and we always had a really good spacing. any of the promotional events that we do for fundraising, we were able to carry those on, but we had adequate spacing because we have a good area of land around the business. So all in all, I think we were very lucky that we were able to continue our business, and very thankful that a lot of people did support and have been supporting local business.
Yeah, and Brenda, that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come on, because all our small businesses have been challenged. Many of them have been able to kind of figure out how to move forward, and some are doing better than others. And we want our businesses to all do well. And, so when I heard you say that, in many ways you made the transition and you figured out ways to kind of keep yourself, your head above water, that's a good story to tell. And it's an encouraging story for, the people out in the business community to hear. So I wanted you to be here. And then also as a leader, I know you decided that you weren't going to run again for the town council. You were on there, for 12 years, I believe. That's
Well,
what
this is my 12th year. I'll finish up in December
Yes.
with my 12th year. And
Yes, so
I've enjoyed serving the town of Situate. It's been a really, really enjoyable venture, meeting a lot of people throughout the state and the town, implementing better programs. I worked very closely with the recycling program for many years, obtained recycle bins for every household from Middletown. It seemed like we luckily had a good fit with them, that we were able to transfer the equipment, so it was no cost to the town. And it also helped to generate an awareness in each household with more recycling. So I'm hoping to add still continue my focus with the recycling if possible. So I'm not totally stepping away.
Well, we'll reach out to you on that. We've got a special program because we did as I was a mayor. So I, like I said, I have a warm spot in my, in my heart for our municipal leaders out there. And Brenda, for 12 years of service, thank you for that. And then the things that you bring to the table, good. And that's a really good thing. And I wanted to kind of show today, as people are watching this, that we are out and we do have 39 cities and towns in the state. And whether they're big or small, it doesn't matter. Every community matters, and the people who live in those communities matter. So today we got a business here with Blair and her family in Cranston, and we got Dan and Kelly out in West Greenwich, and we've got Christine and Brenda in Situate. So those are different areas of the state. They're all important, and I really appreciate everybody spending the time here today. If our office can be of any help, let us know. And Brenda in Situate, we are drafting this letter that can go out to all municipalities through their municipal leaders in conjunction with our office to help, continue to promote the idea that there is help out there, and we want all our small businesses to take advantage of that help, including the Restore Rhode Island.
Thank you to you for all your help and support of all the small businesses, and I will be sure to implement that as much as I can in the time that I have left here in Situate.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a good sampling of what we're talking about in terms of the need to make sure that we're working with our small businesses, creating as much flexibility as we can. And we're going to continue to do that. We'll be drafting another communication to the governor's office as well as Commerce for next week through our coalition of small businesses to continue to try to put front and center practical ways that we can help our small businesses in the state of Rhode Island. So I'll be on with a community conversation tomorrow evening. We got a little special with the Veterans Day, so we're going to have a little focus on that. But please tune in, share this program out with your friends, call our office if you need any help at 222-2371. Wear your masks. Again, it's indecent exposure not to have your mask on. That's the way I feel about it. It exposes our economy and it exposes our health. And right now, those are our two priorities that we need to work on. So until we, be able to meet again, thank you so much for joining in the call today, and stay healthy.